Prahalada Narada Parasara Pundarika Vyasamrasha Sukha Saunaka Bhishma Dalbyan Rukmanga Uddhava Vibhishna Palgunanin Punyanimam Parama Bhagavatam Namami Janmadi Astya Yato Anvayad Idara Sarcha Abhijñā Swarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Havaye Mukhyantiya Suraya Tejo Vari Mrita Meta Vinimayo Yatra Sargo Mrisa Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuham Satyam Param Dhimahi धर्म प्रोचित कैतव अत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तुसे वदन् तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृत्कं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृदि अवरुध्यते अत्र कृतिभिः सुश्रुतभिः सक्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुखादमृतं द्रवसंयुक्तं बिबत भागवतं रसमालय मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुका नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् वासुदेवे भगवती भक्तियोगप्रयोजितः जनयाति आसु वैराग्यं ज्ञानं यच्छत् अहैतुकम् शृण्वतां स्वकतकृष्णपुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी वासुदेव परा वेदा वासुदेव परा मकाः वासुदेव परा योगा वासुदेव परा क्रियाः वासुदेव परं ज्ञानं वासुदेव परं तपः वासुदेव परो धर्म वासुदेव परा गतिः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामदुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परं हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Brahma, who is the father of this material world, from whom all the living entities get created, he wanted to see the power of Krishna. Therefore, he came down to Vrindavan, the surrounding, and then over there, he saw Krishna was playing with so many cowherd boys and calves. Brahma stole all the calves. When Krishna told his friends, I will go find the calves, you all continue eating your meal, I'll be back. And he told, and then left to looking for these calves. But Krishna couldn't find even one calf. Then he returned back to the same spot. Over there, to his surprise, the boys were missing. They were also not there. Then Krishna could understand that this is a mischievous act by Brahma. And what Krishna did, in one sense, we all may call amazing, but none of these things are amazing when it comes to Krishna. Krishna can do anything and everything. One point of time, someone asked Prabhupada that can God do anything and everything? And Prabhupada said, yes, God can do anything and everything. So that person challenged Prabhupada, can God create a stone, a rock, which he cannot lift? So it's a tricky question. Can God create a rock which he cannot lift? If Prabhupada says, yes, then God can create, but he cannot lift it. That means he can't do something, only he can do one thing. And if Prabhupada says, no, he cannot create a rock which he cannot lift, then it shows God's inability of doing anything. So this question was just to challenge Prabhupada and bring the glory of God down. So in response, Prabhupada said, beautiful answer. He said, well, God can create a rock which he cannot lift. And then immediately right after that, Krishna said, after creating the rock that he cannot lift, he lifts it. Right? So both the things get satisfied. Yes, he can create something he cannot lift, and after that he lifts it. Right? So both is possible. So therefore Krishna can do anything that um, is not a big deal. It's not an amazing thing at all. But then for our eyes, it's all amazing when we see and hear and read these things. So Krishna himself expanded into all the calves and all the boys, as many. So, and then the boys went back home, and the mother's affection towards their child as multifolded into many. It was their love was so just overflowing, and not only the boys, but also the calves. When they went back, these cows were so much in love when they saw their calf. Even those cow which had recently given birth to another calf, their affection and love was towards the other one than the newly born one. Right? So the days were passing, and it was just going to be another few more 4 or 5 days of year to end, 1 year to end. That time when the calves and cows were grazing on the Govardhan hill, the cows came running looking at these calves. Remember, there are two calves. One was the calf which is actually um, Krishna. Another calf, or the original calf, meaning the recently born calves, or the one which stayed back at that time and they did not go during that time where Brahma stole the calves. But these cows were rushing towards those specific calves and giving them milk. And the other calves, when they come, they don't even care for those calves. And when the cowherd men they saw this, they become very angry on these cows. And also they could see that these calves were drinking pretty much all the milk. And the coward men they become very upset and angry. They were just trying to chase away this calf and trying to keep away the cows away from these calves, and they couldn't do it. It was just coming back again. Their affection and love were so much. And then immediately when these boys saw their own sons coming, their love have increased, and they started embracing and carrying their son and giving their kiss on their forehead, and they forgot their anger on the cow and calf. So Balaram saw this one, and he was bewildered himself. Balaram was bewildered himself. Can you imagine? Because he was not present during this time when that happened, when Brahma came and stole the cows, the calf and the boys. So therefore, he was wondering what's happening here. So he approached Krishna and said, Krishna, there is something doesn't seem to be right past one.
Okay, I think so. We reviewed this part last time. At the end, it was the part after Balaram talked to Krishna, and then at the year and Brahma came. That's where we
Yeah, this is after the boys were stolen, right? Where Krishna expanded himself into the calf and the boys, right? So Balram saw and he was just
No, we read after this part when Balaram talked to Krishna.
I'm not understanding what you're asking, Meher. Can
We
you?
read after the part when Balaram asked Krishna, and we read the part when the year ended.
Yeah, correct. We're just starting with a recap of what we covered, and then we'll be covering. Okay, that's usually our pattern. So what we do is when we start, we always have to recap what we did, and then start get connected to today's. And then when we end, we say what's coming next. Usually, okay, that should be the way the classes should be. Okay, so just give me a few more minutes. We'll finish up the recap, and then we'll enter into today's session. Okay. So Balram was just wondering what was happening, and then he spoke to Krishna, and Krishna gave the complete picture of everything to Balaram. And Balaram was thinking, "Wow, okay, so all these boys are yourself, all these calves, none other than yourself. Oh my God, Krishna, you even bewildered me." So Krishna and Balaram was laughing like this. One year was passed. At the time, Lord Brahma returned back. After 1 year, Brahma returned back. But please understand, our 1 year and Brahma's time are totally different calculation. For us, 365 days makes 1 year. Yes, Akshara? 365 days equal to 1 year. Yes?
Uh, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So you know what? That 365 days equal to 1 year for us is just 1 day for Devatas. It's just 1 day for them. Yeah, yeah. So you have to calculate, how many years for Kali Yuga is 432,000 years, right? Kali Yuga is 432,000 years, which is equal to 1200 years as per the upper planetary system. 1200 years. So Kali Yuga is 1200 years, and double that is 2400 years is Dwapara Yuga, and in 3600 years is Traita Yuga, and 48,000 years is Satya Yuga. I'm telling you the calculation of the Devatas because the numbers is going to be otherwise too difficult to handle. Yeah. So that means 12,000 years as per the Devata, it is one cycle of Divya Yuga put all together. Okay? That is one cycle of it's what is called one Chatur Yuga or one Divya Yuga. Like that, multiplied by 1,000, multiplied by 1,000, and that is 1 day of Brahma. You're getting the point? Our 365 days is
Yeah.
1 day, and then in the calculation of the Devatas, 1200 is Kali Yuga, and 2400 is Dwapara Yuga, 3600 is Trita Yuga, 4800 is Satya Yuga, which means 12,000 celestial years makes one Chatur Yuga into 1,000 numbers, right? Into 1,000, that makes 1 day of Brahma, 1 day of Brahma. So when Brahma for us in this world, when we say Brahma came back after 1 year, he just came, just went and just came back. That's all. He just went and just immediately came back. But for us, it is 1 year past. When Brahma came back, and when he came back, for a surprise, he could see everyone right there. The boys were there, and the calves were there. Then he went back where he put the boys and calves to sleep. The boys were there sleeping, the calves were also sleeping. He came back again, the boys were there and calves were there. He was just making multiple trips up and down. He was just thinking, what's happening? Then he went back again where these boys and calves were, and then they started counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He counted all the boys there, and he went back to his place and counted the boys who were sleeping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Identical numbers. The calves were same numbers. He did an audit check, right? He had a check of balance, check and balance. He counted here, he counted there, same numbers. Then he thought, maybe these are something else. Then he saw, compared each and every one, identical, nothing is different. So Brahma himself was in completely bewildered situation. He was. Okay? He was completely covered at that point. And then he went to the Vrindavan area. Then there also he could see the same situation. And within few minutes after that, then he could see something different. Those boys and those calves, Shatirbuja Sank Chakra Gadha Rajiva Panayah Kiritina Kundalina Harina Vanamalinaha. It is said that the Bhagavatam says those boys all turned into 400 forms of Narayana, Vishnu. Chaturbuja. Chaturbuja means with four hands. Shankh, Chakra, Gadha, Padma. Rajiva means Padma. Rajiv, we have names, right? Sometimes we have this, we have this name Rajiv. Rajiv, Padma, it's all same. Right? So he was carrying this boy, everyone was transferred into this 400 form with Kirita, Kundala, Harana, all jewelries, Vanamalina, beautiful, nice garlands, Srivatsa, there is a small mole on his chest, that also, and Ratna means different types of stone, Kankana, but many ornaments around his body, and Nupura, even on his feet, and many bangles. They were all looking identical now in this 400 forms. Even the calves changed now. And he was just seeing the beauty of each and every one. Then he could understand now what a big mistake that he has done. He was trying to test the Supreme Lord. But all those different forms were smiling at Brahma. He was looking at Brahma. He could see that many other moving and non-moving objects and entities, they were all singing and dancing the glories when they saw this Vishnu Murti with 400 forms. Brahma was watching all these things. Brahma could not understand what he was seeing. And sometimes, have any of you have gone and seen magic show? Have you seen magic show?
Yeah, yeah, but I also watched it secret.
Prabhuji, I didn't go to magic store.
Yeah. So there are, in magic show, they can produce many things. Right? They can produce, they do something like this, something will appear.
Yeah, because it's actually comedy.
Something they will have in their hand, something will disappear.
That's
Right?
called comedy.
And then they make something appear in front of you as someone standing. So we all know it is all illusion. They just try to, it is not real. So in case of Krishna, is he something a super duper magician where he's trying to create in such a way that everything appears like, these boys and calves, and is it an all illusion like how the magician does? Exactly, Sarvari. It is not. They're all real. They're absolutely real. And there's no difference between this Krishna and the other Krishna over there. There's no difference. Sometimes you see twins are born, right? The twins are born and they look, there are two types of twins, right? One are identical, one are not identical. Right? So if we find an identical twins when they're born, they look exactly the same. Exactly. There's no difference at all. There's no difference. But are they same? They are not. They are not same. Their likings are different. Their behaviors are different. Many, except the appearance, everything is different. But is Krishna the same way, like a twin? He got into many different thing. No,
No.
no, thank you. No, it's they all the same, exactly the same. There's no difference at all. This is a very important thing that we need to know. Any of you know the story of Saubhari Muni?
No.
Okay, that is in Bhagavatam. Saubhari Muni was a great rishi. I think I told this one up or sometime. So Saubhari was a great Muni. He was under the water doing great tapasya.
I
And
remember
that
it.
point, oh, you remember that? So under the water doing great tapasya. At that one point of time, he saw small fishes in family together expressing and showing their love. Immediately, Saubhari Muni thought, wow, this is so nice. So I should also get married and have children and have a family. And then I have to take care of them, send them to Kuman, send them to school, send them to music classes, send them to, karate
Wrong
class.
book. Kumon wasn't even invented by that time.
Right. So I want to do all those
That's
things.
wrong book.
Wrong book, yeah. So Saubhari Muni immediately got out of the water, went to the close by kingdom, and the king had 50 daughters, and he got married to 50 daughters. And the interesting thing is, he expanded himself into 50 bodies. He expanded into, he cloned himself. You know what cloning, right?
Yeah,
Mahat,
it's also in the
Mahat,
Bible.
What does cloning mean?
It means making an
making,
identical image of
yeah, you make multiple things or another thing which is identical to the other one. You have this phone, right? Where is this phone mouse? So you can duplicate this. That's called cloning.
Oh,
They can't
thank
identical. So Saubhari Muni, he took 50 bodies and married to 50 princes. That's how he was. So Krishna also we can see here, he manifested into multiple different boys and calf. When Saubhari Muni can do this, why can't Krishna do it? Right? Krishna, when Saubhari Muni can do only 50 bodies, Krishna can expand himself into as many as he wanted. So that's a point to remember here. Krishna's power. So Brahma, he came to his sense, but he was like a dead man, seeing all this thing. His eyes were wide open. How many eyes did Brahma have? Four into two,
it.
eight eyes, right?
12, 12.
Every single eyes are wide open with surprise
you.
and amazement.
8 eyes.
Yeah, he was so
Because
surprised.
4 plus 4 equal 8.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
So
but before he had 20 eyes.
yeah. So Brahma then understood the absolute truth. Krishna, who doesn't have a second. Can you can there be a second God?
No,
Yeah, there cannot be a second God. God is only one. Does anyone have any questions on this? Any doubt?
probably I have one.
There is only one God. Many times people get confused, right? People say that in the Indian philosophy or in Hindu dharma, uh, there's so many gods, whereas in other religion there's only one God. You take any world famous religion for that matter, there's only one God. Right?
Wrong. In
Whereas,
Norse mythology, there's
okay,
gods.
hold on. Let me speak, and you can get a chance to speak. So whereas in the Hindu religion or Sanatana Dharma, there seem to be many God, and that is not the correct understanding. If we read Bhagavad Gita, it is very clear. There's only one God, right? There are many devatas. but they are not God. They are devatas. They are empowered by God,
They
and
are
they should,
demigods.
Prabhuji, what's the difference between demigods and gods?
they are subordinate to God. Mayor, there is supreme God, and there are other small gods who's been appointed by the supreme God. Therefore, they are called demigods, devatas. Okay, so they are many. There are many devatas. Now here Brahma says you don't have a second, right? You don't have a second. You are the only one who's absolute truth. And being such an absolute truth, Supreme Lord, you are playing a role of a son of a cowherd man, Nanda Maharaj. What an amazing thing! What an amazing thing! If you go to a president of United States, right, and then tell him that can you please come and uh, do take care of cleaning my car. What is going to happen? Can you
First
say
of all,
that?
be nervous to even talk to the president.
Exactly. We don't have courage to talk to the president, but if at all you do that one, telling it, hello sir, can you come and clean my car, wash my car? And the president is not going to do that. We all know that he's not going to do cleaning our car. Can you imagine Krishna, who's not a president of United States for just 4 or 5 years? He is the president of the entire creation for eternity. He did not start in 2021 and end in 2026 or 5. It's not like that. Whereas all the devatas have a starting time and end time. They're all in post.
Krishna also created the president.
Exactly. Right?
Prabhuji, how
So
come
therefore,
each devatas has a time? There's no two devatas. Even like Indra wasn't replaced, right?
yeah, Indra is replaceable. Indra is a post. Yama is a
Yeah,
post.
I know that, but they didn't die. Did,
Yeah,
but
I mean, they are not. Yeah, they will not die. But there are, when pralaya happens, there are chances that they will also die and take another body. Okay, they will also have to change bodies. Hmm? So like we change, they also change body. So the point here is
Even Yamaraj.
even Yamaraj, even Yamaraj has to change the body. Okay,
But will he come back to his normal body again?
he will. It depends on his karma, whatever his karma and whatever his destination is. That is what he's going to get next life. Or he may go back to Krishna for his wonderful devotional service, whatever he has been doing perfectly. He may go back to the higher plan.
Yay.
Krishna. Okay. Now let me continue here, and so we can carry on with the story. So just hold on to your questions, and we can open up for questions little later. Is it okay? Now, Brahmaji is saying that, my dear Lord, Brahma is thinking that Supreme Lord is now appeared, born in the family of Nanda Maharaj, carrying the shoes of Nanda Maharaj on his forehead and doing all sort of activities. Can you imagine this? You cannot. So immediately, Brahma, understanding this one, he got out of his swan, because the vehicle of Brahma is white swan, right? So he got off, jumped off from the swan. Somehow he balanced, he got up, because he's now in a very fear. In other words, he was in a fearful
How
situation.
can it jump out because the swan is very high flying?
Yeah, it was in a lower position and he just came up. Okay, so he just jumped off from the swan and then just fell at the feet of Krishna, putting his head down, completely falling, and then he fell at the feet of Krishna. And at that point of time, he started offering his prayers. And this is the 14th chapter.
Brahma or something?
Yeah, no, this is not Brahma Samhita. This is a different prayer. Okay. So here now he was just, this is beautiful slokas in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So he just offers his prayer. Each and every sloka is such a beautiful message, information in it. And he says, "My dear Lord, I offer my prayers at your lotus feet. How much I can pray to you and praise you, whatever I can do is very limited. Little bit I can pray and praise you because your glories are unlimited. Person like me with limited knowledge, how can he even praise you?" That's how he expressed. He prays, still he prays with his limited knowledge. Then he says, "My dear Lord, the only way that we can understand you is by bhakti, nothing else. How much ever one may go through any austerities in their life, penance in their life, those are not a qualification or eligibility to immediately understand you. It is only through the process of bhakti then one can understand you." So he just prays in this way. No one else, especially those who are not devotees of you, can never understand who you are. He just says this one. No one can understand who you are. They may understand your impersonal form, but not you as a person. This is an important thing we all should know. God, people, and heaven, and people, there are people who think God doesn't have a form, God doesn't have a name, God doesn't have a quality, God doesn't have any of this thing, but He is God. You cannot call Him as He, you cannot call Him as she, you cannot tell Him that He's tall, He's short, you cannot call Him with any names. So that is one way of people have an idea what God means. But there's another worship where God do have name, God do have form, God do have qualities, God do have place, God do have relatives, God do have every single thing. That is also there. So both are true. And what is highest of this both? This is exactly what Arjuna asked in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What he asks is, Mad anugrahaya paramam guhyam adhyatma samyitam yat tvayaktam vachastena mohoyam vigata mama. He said, "My dear Krishna, people worship impersonal form. People worship you without form, and people worship you with form. What is better? What is greater? Could you please tell?" And this 12th chapter is based on this particular question. And Krishna concludes saying, the best worship and fastest worship, easiest worship is that with form, personal form. So the maximum people can go without having bhakti is considering an impersonal form. But for one to have the grace of Krishna, then one has to understand the personal worship is the highest worship. Saying this one, Brahma offers a beautiful Sharanagati. Sharanagati, meaning surrendering prayer. He says, Tattenu kampam susumukshamanam bunjanam evatma kritam vipakam hridvak vapurbir vidatam namaste jivete yo mukti pade sadhaya bhak. This is a very, very beautiful, powerful sloka in the prayers of Brahma. He says, Tattenu kampam susukshamanam punjanam evatam kritam vipakam. My dear Lord, the person eagerly waits for your causeless mercy. While he is waiting for your causeless mercy, during this period, whatever suffering he goes through, he thinks it's all because of his past karma, because of his past karma. Bhavya, have you ever had any pains, any wounds, any hurt in past?
Yes, Prabhuji. Should I like give an example like how sometimes my uh sometimes I'm having some troubles in like doing bhakti properly, and so I pray to Krishna that it is because of my past karma, and then I pray to Krishna. So like this is what I'm like the wounds and pains.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you, Bhavya. Thanks for sharing that. So whenever we suffer, we may fall down, we get hurt, something happens. At the point of time, we should, rather than sit and crying, oh, this happened to me. Oh, look at this. So it's just rather than crying. So it's okay to cry, not to say we should not cry, because sometimes it's unbearable. One can cry, but at the same time, one should remember this happened to me because of my own karma, past karma. I have to suffer like this.
Prabhuji, can you um
Cry again like that?
I'm Prabhuji, I'm not sure this happened to my past karma, but when I was 3, I swallowed a battery.
Yeah, every single thing, whether you're getting good things or bad things, it's all because of the karmas that we have done in past. Yeah. So you're asking me here, you're like a very scientific philosopher. You ask beautiful nice questions. Where did your intelligence come from? How did you get intelligence like this? Diksha was reciting nice slokas, Akshara was singing nice songs, and you all have special Mahati and Bhavya, Rukmini. You all have special skills. How did it all come from? Right? It's all because of the previous karma. We have been blessed to be so this lifetime. That's all it is. Right? That's all it is. So, likewise, when the bad things happen to us, we should also understand this is because of my previous karma that I am just suffering like this. Therefore, accepting that one. So Brahma says that I am just a spark in a big fire. The spark that comes out of the fire, how small it is when compared to the big fire, right? You are like
Yes, it is still dangerous.
Yeah, you are like a big, fire, whereas I am like a small spark. That's all. Where am I compared to you, my dear Lord? Therefore, please, please, please. Now he's coming to a stage where he's asking for forgiveness. My dear Lord, please forgive me for my foolish act. Foolish act, right? So it takes a greater willpower to ask for forgiveness to someone. What do you think about this statement, Sarvari? I'll repeat this one. Okay. It takes a greater willpower to ask forgiveness to someone. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji, because when you ask forgiveness, it means that you have admitted to a mistake. And because of our ego that we have, sometimes we don't like to do that. We like to think that we are correct. So when you have to ask for forgiveness, it takes more of your power to ask for forgiveness because you have to admit that you did something wrong.
Very nicely you said. Very, very nicely you said. Thank you so much. So that's exactly what. But just imagine Brahma. What's the position of Brahma? Everyone is looking up on Brahma because he is a material, in material sense. He is a creator. So everyone is looking upon Brahma, and then Brahma could have simply walked away. Now he understood that, oh my God, did a boo boo with Krishna. So let me escape from here. Now that I understand this is no one else, this is Krishna, and no one else is watching my mistake. Now let me immediately return back to Satyaloka, and then so that no one sees me, and I'm just in a good books. No one really have to know what mistake I have done. He could have done that easily, but then he understood. That's not what we are supposed to do. Yeah. A great person or those people are like Brahma, who does not think about, their prestige, their ego. If we commit mistake, the first thing is to admit the mistake. That itself a good quality. We all are humans. We are meant to error. Yes, we all make mistake. None of us are perfect. We all know very well. Everyone make mistake. But then when we recognize the mistake, when we commit, especially when we commit to others, when we recognize the mistake, and the greater thing than that is asking for forgiveness for our mistakes from to that person. That is really makes this person great, right? That person great. So Brahma just fell at the feet of Krishna, and he was just praying all these wonderful prayers, seeking for forgiveness. My eyes were blinded by darkness of ignorance. Brahma is saying this one. My eyes were covered by the ignorance, right? Because of which I made mistake. But please do not reject me, Krishna. I am your servant. I am your servant forever. This whole creation, this is a very important thing. Now, Brahma is putting himself as position. You know, there are two things. There is a spiritual world and there is a material world. Does anyone know what is that which divides a spiritual world and material world? Yes, Bhavya.
Brahma Jyoti.
Brahma Jyoti is fine, but what is that important thing that divides the spiritual world and material world? There is something. Yes, Rukmini.
It is
You are taking help.
it is
If you know, you should help. Otherwise, that's fine.
this.
So it is called Viraja Nadi. It's Viraja Nadi. Okay, that river which divides the spiritual world and material world. Okay, so below the Viraja Nadi, it's all material world. Above the Viraja Nadi, it's all spiritual world. And below the below the Viraja Nadi is called Prakriti. Okay, it's all called Prakriti. The Prakriti, and then inside the Prakriti there is Mahan. Inside Mahan there is Ahankara, and then everything gets created after that. It's very detailed. So we also saw these things in the third canto itself, second and third canto. We already covered all these things. So we are not going to cover those details here. But what Brahma is saying that is, I'm somewhere in the corner, like a little insect. Brahma is thinking, I am like a little insect in the entire creation. When Brahma is thinking he is a little insect in the entire creation, what about you and I? What should we think about when Brahma is thinking he is insignificant? Where are we? Right? We are nowhere. But that's the mood of Brahma. He's saying, my dear Lord, there are unlimited universes, there are unlimited Brahmas. Not one Brahma. There are unlimited Brahmas are there. Can you imagine? There's no one Brahma. There are many, many Brahmas are there. And I'm just one out of those Brahma. Where am I compared to what you have? Therefore, my dear Lord, like a parent forgives their child, right? Let me see. Akshara, you are there. When you are a small baby, you may not know. Sarvari may remember. Sarvari, when Akshara was a small little baby, right? Cute little baby, without her glasses at the time, right? Have you already seen when your mom picks up, Akshara, and Akshara kicks her mom with her feet, like this, like this, like this, and kicks her face and kicks her body and hands, and not intentionally, but she does when she was a small baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen such thing?
Yes, Prabhuji, I remember.
Yeah. Did you get angry at Akshara saying, "Oh, my little whatever, your little cute devil, what have you
No,
done?
Prabhuji. No, Prabhuji. We
How can you
forgive her.
how can you kick my mom and kick me? And what are you? You have no buddhi. You don't have intelligence. How can you? Have you ever spoken any of these things, or
No,
do you?
Prabhuji.
Or you started looking and telling, "Oh, so cute," and do you in fact sometimes parents take the feet of the baby and then they kiss the baby and they kick, tap. Oh,
Yeah, no, Prabhuji. We would just say that she's cute and like we wouldn't like say anything mean to her or anything.
yeah, yeah. So it's so cute, right? So baby, when the baby kicks mom, the mom doesn't say, "Hey, you nonsense, you're a troublemaker. How can you do that to me? I'm coming to give you milk and you're kicking me." Mother doesn't say like this. And Brahma is saying the same thing. Brahma is saying that, my dear Lord, I am like a small baby in front of you. Like how a parent forgives the baby who kicks their parent. I committed a mistake at your lotus feet. Please, please forgive me. Please forgive me. And then he says that the world comes to an end. I will also come to an end. And I have to take birth again. This is where the beautiful things comes. I will have to take birth again. That is my situation compared to everything in this world. So, my dear Lord, please forgive me for all the mistake that I have done. Like a parent forgives their child. He says, coming. How fortunate the Vrindavan Vasis. How fortunate is Nanda Maharaj. How fortunate is Yashoda. How fortunate these Gopas and Gopis. How fortunate these cows are. How fortunate this forest of Vrindavan. The plants, the trees, the flowers, all how fortunate they are to have you with them. But the foolish people does not understand your greatness. They think you are an ordinary boy. You are an ordinary boy like other boys. Maybe they think that you have some extra power or mystic power or something, but they don't know who you are. Just see the foolishness of these people. They are ignorant. They cannot understand you, that you can do anything that you like to do. They think you to be an ordinary person. Okay. Now, have you sometimes in darkness say, let's pick Mahati. Mahati, unmute.
Yes.
When you say sometime in a dark in your house, you're entering into a dark room, or in sometime some places, have you seen a shadow of something and thought that shadow to be someone standing there?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes you think like that. Or
Yeah.
sometimes you see a small how do I say, you see something small, a thread, or a small piece, and you think that maybe there's a worm, it is some insect. Then you go closer. Actually it's a piece of paper, it's a piece of cloth or a thread. It is not really a worm.
I thought of that a lot of times.
A lot of times see like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people see a rope and they think it's a snake. It's a snake. Ah, oh my God, there's a snake. Then you go closer, then you find out it's actually a rope. It's not a snake. Right?
Yeah.
So this is what happens. What happens? We see an object and think that object to be something else. That object to be something else. When you see an object and that object to be totally a different object, right? For example, I take this book, right? This is a book. We all know this is a book. Yes. Now I see,
It is Srimad Bhagavatam.
yeah, when I look at this book, then I think this is a iPad. Is this an iPad? It's not an iPad. iPad is totally a different object. Book is totally a different object. When I see one object to be totally a different object, totally different object, right? When we think like that, that is completely called illusion. We are illusion. An object to be some other object is called illusion. So seeing Krishna and thinking Krishna to be an ordinary person is an illusion. Is an illusion because he is Supreme Lord. So now Brahma is coming to a conclusion. Slowly, slowly, is saying now what is he expecting from Krishna? What is it? Now then, Krishna is asking Brahma, what do you want? I understand you made a boo boo, you made a mistake, and you're seeking for forgiveness. Now, what is that you want? You say tattena kamsam susukshamanam bunjanam evatam kritam vibhakam. So you're saying that you want moksha now? You want to get liberated and go back to spiritual world? You don't want any of the sufferings of this world. You want to have attain liberation and go back. And Brahma says something totally different. He says totally different. In a beautiful writing called Mukundamala Stotra, Mukundamala by Kulashekara Alvar, he says, Diviva, Bhuviva, Mamastu Vaso, Narakeva Narakantaka Prakhamam, Avadhirita Sharadhara Vindo, Marane Api Chintayami. Kulashekara says, King Kulashekara says, that my dear Lord, let me be born or put in heavenly planet. Let me be put into hellish planet. Let me be born into this material world. I do not care about it. I do not care about it. Right? So let me ask this one. Who's here turned on the video? So we have same faces here. Oh, Meher. Meher, right now you are in your house, wherever the house you are in, right? Now you're going to be asked to move into a single bedroom apartment with much more, lesser facility. How do you feel about it? You have your own room where you have everything. In that apartment, you will not get your own room. It will be a shared room with your parents and yourself or a guest coming. So you'll be put into a smaller house. How do you feel about it? What's your
I'm new to the house and I want to stay in this house.
very good. Thank you for your, very, very truthful response. Very nice. So we don't want to move into smaller house. Now let me ask Meher another question. You can turn on your video.
Yeah.
Wherever the house you're staying now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many rooms you have there.
About three.
You have three.
Living, my room, and mom. This is the storeroom and two bathrooms and the kitchen. So
Oh my
that's
God, that's quite a big house. And how many How many car parks? How many? What's a garage? Two-car garage? Or
not a garage. We don't have a garage. We can rent the garage.
okay, you rent a garage. Do you don't
We
have
did.
you okay? So do you have a swimming pool in your house?
No, it's a home actually,
It's a
not a
home.
house.
It's a home. Okay. Do you have a theater over there in
No.
your basement? You have a theater.
We have a basement but no theater. We have a TV.
I see. I see. So how about this offer to you? Okay. Now you're going to get an house. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a house. It's a mansion which has at least 20 bedrooms, a big hall, in a big kitchen. Well, kitchen, no one cooks in the kitchen, so it doesn't matter whether big or small nowadays. Now you have a bigger basement, and the basement is like a theater. It has a gym, right? And you have a swimming pool, and you have such a wide lawn, big area where you can have your own horses, 10, 15 horses, right? And everything is there. Even you can have an helicopter coming and landing and taking off. You have a space for that also. How about that house? Would you like to move into that house?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Right? Now, let's understand what Kulashekara Alvar is saying now. What he's saying is, whether you put me into an apartment like in hell, suffering after suffering after suffering, or you put me into a heavenly planet like a mansion house, mansion, not mansion, mansion, where all the facilities are there, no scarcity of any facility, whether you put down in hell, whether you put up in the heavenly planet, or you decided to make me settle down in the same earth in United States of America, in New Jersey, or in St. Louis, or wherever you are all situated in, if I have to take birth again here, what he says is, I have no problem with any of those things. I have no problem. You can do whatever you want with me. But one request I have, only one request I have is this: Avadhirita Sharadhara Vindo Charane The Marane Api Chintayami. Only one thing I want to request you is, my dear Lord, at the time of death, at the time of death, let me remember your charanam. We already saw what charanam means, a lotus feet. Let me remember your feet at the time of death, at the time of death. So when Brahma was saying, my dear Lord, everything happening because of my karma, I don't mind about any of this thing, I'll wait for your costless mercy. And Krishna thought, are you asking for moksha? Are you asking that you want to go to heavenly planet? You don't want to, because you're beyond the heaven, you're above heavenly planet. Bhakti Loka is above the heavenly planet. Is it correct? Heavenly Brahma Loka is above the heavenly planet, right? Swarga Loka, you all know that, correct? Yeah. So you're not going to come down to heavenly planet. You're already in a higher planet. Obviously, you're not going to go to hellish. You don't want to go to hell. So you're looking like you want to attain moksha. And Brahma says, my dear Lord, I don't want moksha. I'm not praying so that I want to attain moksha. Are you thinking of wanting to think about my lotus feet at time of death, like Kulashekara Alvar? Api chintayami, marane api chintayami. Do you want to remember me at the time of death when you die? And Brahma says, no, 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 no. I don't even want that. What? You don't even want to remember me at the time of death? No, I don't want to. Can you imagine Brahma saying this one? I don't even want to remember at the time of death. Oh, you want to be born as a gopi where you can dance with me? Ras Leela, would you like to do this? Akshay, would you like to be a gopi and dance with Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji.
There you go. Krishna will be
Yes.
happy. Yes.
Yes, I will also dance with Lord Krishna.
See, but look at this. Hear this very carefully. Brahma says, no thanks. You must be thinking, oh, Brahma is an old person. He's a man. How a man can dance with a man? Therefore, he's saying no, right? No, he's talking about next life, not the current life. If even in current life, Krishna wouldn't mind dancing with us, if whether you're boy or girl.
A man can also dance with another man.
Yeah. So therefore, Brahma is saying, I don't want to be born as a gopi to dance with you. That's not what I'm praying for. Oh, you want to be born as a Gopas, the boyfriends that I have, like Sri Dhama, Madhumangal. You want to be born like them so you can go and steal butter and come to forest and play with me and fool around each other. Do you like to play with me? That's why you're praying all these things that you can be born as a Gopa and play with me. And Brahma says, no thanks. What? You don't want to be a gopi? You don't want to be a gopa? What's happening here? Oh, I know. I understand. You want to be born. I remember you stole those calves, and you understand how much I love calf. So you want to be born as maybe a cow or a calf? Is it what you want to do so you can lick my feet? Because cows and calves comes and licks Krishna's lotus feet. Nah, like that. And the cow and calves come and licks Krishna's lotus feet. Can you? Krishna enjoys when the cows and calves does that one, right? It just Krishna enjoys. So that Krishna is asking, would you like to be born as a cow, Brahma? How about that offer? You don't want to be attaining moksha. You don't want to be a gopi. You don't want to be a gopa. How about cow? And Brahma says, my dear Lord, I am such a fallen soul. Me licking your feet, I am a contaminated person. I am not a clean person. Like the cows of Vrindavan, I am not a clean person. My consciousness is corrupted. If I lick you, it's an offense to your lotus feet. It is offense to your lotus feet. And Krishna thought for a moment, oh, you don't want to be a gopa, you don't want to be a gopi, you don't want to be a cow, you don't want to be a calf. Now I understood. Now I understood. You want to be born as a plant or a grass in Vrindavan, so that when I walk and run on the grass, the dust from my lotus feet can touch on your head. Is that what you're looking for? Is that what you want? And Brahma says, your lotus dust from your lotus feet on my head, that's too much for me. I don't have any qualification. I don't even want that. I am not expecting to be born as a grass to receive the dust from your lotus feet. And Krishna himself got confused now. Oh my God, what does this guy want? He doesn't want anything from me, but he's still praying. What does he want? Then why you want to be born in Vrindavan? That's what he said. I want to be born in Vrindavan. Brahma said, I want to be born in Vrindavan. But then he doesn't want to be born as a gopa, gopi, cow, calf, plants, trees, nothing. So what is it you want then? Then he said, my dear Lord, he said, my dear Lord, the choice is yours. You make me anything that you want, but I want, only desire is to be born in Vrindavan, so that the dust from your devotees can touch me and purify me. Not that your dust, the dust of a cow, dust of even a dog, dust of anything that falls at me will simply purify my consciousness. Unless and until one becomes a devotee of yours, one cannot be free from attachments, hatred. There's a beautiful sloka where he says, Tavat Ragadayas Stenas. Stena means thieves. Stenas means thieves. Right? Tavat Kara Griham Griham. Tavan Mahangri Nigado Yavat Krishna Nate Janaha. So he says to Krishna that until people become your devotee, they are being stolen by two things. We are having two thieves next to us. Do you know? Do you know, Mahati, you have thieves in your house? You don't know you have a thief in your house?
No, Prabhuji.
Not one, there are two thieves in your house. How about you, Bhavya? Do you know you have thieves at your house? You don't know? No one knows? And you're happily smiling? Oh my God. You should be calling 911 right away. Report them. We have thieves at our house. There are two thieves, which is just takes away everything from us. Those two thieves are our attachments, our desires. Those are our thieves. Because of those thieves,
Hey, wait, are those thieves in our heart?
in our heart, yes, in our mind. So they are the one which steals away every good thing that we have in our life. If the desires are not good, if our attachment is not towards Krishna, our desires will be bad and our attachment will be towards Maya. Yes or no? Let me repeat it. If our attachments are not towards Krishna, our attachment is going to be towards Maya. If our desires are not to please Krishna, our desires are going to be pleasing our senses. If our attachment and desires
Yes.
are towards a material thing, then we have been stolen. If our attachments and desires are
Yes.
towards Krishna, then also we have been stolen, but not by those thieves, but a greatest thief, that is Krishna. Krishna is also a thief, but we have been stolen by Krishna, that is good. When we have been stolen by our attachments and material desire, that is bad. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up.
Yes, understood? Thumbs up. Therefore, the house, when we have the thieves with us, that house becomes what? Where are the thieves put into? When you catch hold of the thieves, where are they put into?
Jail.
Jail.
Jail, prison. That means if we are in this place, the thieves are here, and then our house becomes what?
A jail.
A jail, Sarvari. That means we are living in a jail, in a prison. Why? In that house where we are living, it is mostly talk about material things. There is no Krishna consciousness. If the house is not speaking about Krishna, not chanting Krishna's name, not serving Krishna's and Krishna's devotees, not hearing Krishna's pastime, not thinking about Krishna, that means we are thinking about material things, how to be happy, how to make my senses happy, how to make myself happy. That's all material things. That means the house is a prison. When we think about Krishna, that house becomes Vaikunta. How to make a prison into Vaikunta? By inviting Krishna into our house. When we send off Krishna, then we are inviting Maya into our house. And that house which has Maya is prison house. That house which has Krishna is Vaikunta. Is that clear?
Prabhuji, I have one question.
And then, one second, hold on to your question. And then the house with the family where the husband and wife always think about Krishna, wanting to serve Krishna and Krishna's devotees, and the children are coming, Mom, let's make prasadam for Krishna. Let's invite devotees to our house and give them prasadam. Let's sit together and do some kirtan, bhajan, read about Krishna. And that house is Vaikunta. That house which doesn't do any of these things is a prison house. And this is not I am telling, this is told by Brahma in a sloka, just now that we saw. Therefore, it is important to understand. And then Brahma continues praying that because of your causeless mercy, my dear Lord, you descended into this world for our benefit, just for our benefit. Therefore, my dear Lord, I fall at your feet for forgiveness and seek for your permission for me to return back to my place. So he's taking permission of Krishna and then says that, let me return back to my place. And then he returns back. And Krishna and all the boys, now the original boys, right? Not Krishna calf. It is all back again. Those boys were sitting, they were as they were before they had been stolen. They were sitting like this. Look at this. And the action start tongue. Hey Krishna, you're back now so fast. The calves are here. Come on, Krishna, you haven't had your meal yet. You off way, you left. Now you're back. Come on, finish your meal. And then all the boys, hey, come on, you keep on eating so long. Let's finish it. It's time to go back home. And all the boys did not realize 1 year they were absent. They were sleeping. Now they are thinking it's all continuing. And Krishna was smiling. He's saying, oh my God. And again, Krishna with his hands, with curd rice, with all the pickles in all these fingers, in the gap, and then enjoying and eating and playing. They all got together, and after they finished this grazing the calves, and the calves were the original calves now, they all went back to Vrindavan, back to their home. And
That is the story. The end.
and one day, they were playing near the river of Yamuna. At that point, something interesting or scary thing.
Alia.
And that is the story that we will be enjoying next weekend. And these prayers are so beautiful. What we went through is very little. And I skipped many of the slokas, many of the details. So, but,
Prabhuji, when is Pralambasura and the other Asura gonna come?
Wait. Yeah, they will come. Don't worry. Don't worry. They will come. They're all in the list, waiting list to die, to be killed by.
and waiting list to die and come back to the spiritual world.
Not spiritual world. Anyway, some of them. So we have a couple of minutes here, and I remember the last session, Bhavya ended with a question that we wanted to address. I can't remember the question. If you still have that question, if you want to ask, please go ahead. If not, anyone else have any other questions, can ask. Maybe Bhavya herself forgot the question. I'm sorry, Bhavya. You should all write down these questions so you don't forget next time, okay? Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Prabhuji, I think I remember Bhavya's question.
You do remember.
Because I think I had it too. This is my question. Why didn't Krishna, because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, why didn't he bring his friends and the calves from the cave back? And why did he instead let Brahma keep them and then expanded himself into the calves and the boys?
Why did, let me ask you one more question, then I can answer the question. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
When Ravana took away Mother Sita, why did Rama just straight away go to Lanka? Hey guy, return my wife. What are you doing with my wife here? Come on, return her.
Because then there's no pastime.
Instead of doing that, he was crying, running around, going to the monkeys and seeking their help. And what a time waste. We might think like that. Right? What a waste of time, right? But Rama did not do any of those things. He was just like a normal person and trying to do all these things. And finally, he got his wife, right? Why did he do that, Sarvati?
Because if he didn't, then there'd be no pastime. And he came down on earth like a normal human being, like at least he was acting to. So if he didn't, then he wouldn't have fulfilled what he was supposed to.
And then we won't be having Ramayana, full-fledged Ramayana also, nothing to talk about Rama's greatness, right?
Just be like
Right.
Sita. They will just be like.
Yeah, 1 second, Rukmini, let me finish this and then you can talk. So now, likewise, the answer is why Krishna could have done anything for that matter. But then how will Brahma realize? He could realize that Krishna took him back. But then when Krishna showed his opulence, right, then that makes Brahma much more, in a bewildered state.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
To show Krishna's opulence to Brahma to some extent, Krishna has to do these things.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else other than our children here? Anyone else have any other comments, questions? No questions? Is there any questions in the chat? Let me check.
No, Prabhu.
Okay. All right. If there is no other questions, we can stop and end.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, Rukmini. Sorry. Yeah, you had something to say. Yes, go ahead.
So like when the like who were the thieves in her heart?
Who are the thieves? Our own attachments and desires. Those are the thieves. So we have to be careful
Like
with these thieves. These attachments and desires are good towards Krishna, and Krishna will become a thief to steal our heart if we have our attachment and desire towards Krishna. Right, Rukmini? Okay.
so if the bad attachments and desires are there, then the home is a jail, a prison, and but when the good attachments and desires are there, it is a spiritual world.
It's a spiritual world. It's Vaikuntha. Thank you. So I also gave an assignment last week. If you all remember, something like you have to make some special item assignment to actually to your mom or dad, I guess. But has anyone done any of the? Yeah, go ahead, Bhavya. What did you do?
For Nrsimha Chaturdashi, I like helped my mother made some halwa and some other food items. Also, I don't know the name of that recipe. The juice Nrsimha Dev loves very much. I also made that. It was pretty easy and it was pretty awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bhavya. Nice. Very good. Okay, Rukmini, what about you?
My mom made noodles, and and I liked it, and it's really
All
good.
right. Okay. Thank you. Meher, what about you?
So actually, last week my mom was kind of busy, so my dad made me some 2 days and yesterday my dad made me yesterday my dad made me a mango shake, and the day before that my dad made me a banana shake, and the day before that my dad made me a mango shake. So we had some shakes.
Your father is a Shakespeare. He makes a lot of shakes.
Get it?
Very nice. Okay, Sarvari.
On Nrsimha Chaturdashi, we also made the juice recipe that Nrsimha Dev likes. And we also made like mango lassi, and then we also offered that to Krishna.
My internet got a little interrupted. The last one, did you say? What did you say? Can you please say that one more time? The
Also,
last item.
Mango lassi, Prabhuji.
Mango lassi. Mango lassi. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Yes, Bhavya. Back again.
Prabhuji, it's just a quick question. Could I ask?
No, I think you should write it down and
Okay.
keep it for you. Okay, it's 1:05. I'm just let's wrap it up here.
Prabhu, there is a question on the chat from Greg.
Oh, you already have a question there. Okay.
Yeah.
What caused Lord Brahma to think that his mischievousness would win over Lord Krishna? What specifically did Lord Brahma ask forgiveness for? Arrogance. Okay, as arrogant. So, what caused Lord Brahma to think that the mischievousness would win over Lord Brahma, Lord Krishna? He just wanted to understand Krishna's opulence. He was just thinking that who's this small boy? Why the whole Vrindavan are praising him and glorifying him, and he's just killing all these different demons. So I really want to see the Lord in his opulence. So he want to test in one sense, and also his intelligence was covered by Krishna himself at that point of time. So he can behave in such a mischievous way. So that's the reason for the first one. The second, what specifically did Lord Brahma ask forgiveness for? After he came to his sense, then he understood that he cannot test the Supreme Lord. So therefore, he asked for his behavior that he was testing Krishna. So for that, he was asking forgiveness that he cannot test Krishna. He shouldn't be doing test. He shouldn't be testing Krishna. So for that, he was asking forgiveness and asking for certainly for his, you can say his arrogance also. It's not arrogance like the other demons. Therefore, he was not arrogant or anything. But how do we say this one? It's not arrogance for sure. He was not arrogant at all. But then he was just having some sort of doubt that he wants to clarify that. So that's all. It's not because of arrogance. Brahma was not arrogant. Thank you. Okay, I think write down your question, Bhavya, and we can discuss next time. And Ashok Prabhu, back to you.
Thank you, Prabhu. I think we are over time, 12:08. So I don't have anything else to add today. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji.